Ever feel like you're like battling the same negative thoughts over and over again?
Right.
Like your brain is stuck
Yeah.
and it just like can't escape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Right.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the world of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Okay.
He's a neuroscientist who says we can actually rewire our brains for success.
Right.
We're going to be exploring his conversation with Jay Shetty.
Okay.
And let me tell you, this is some seriously mind-bending stuff.
I can imagine. Yeah.
So what's so fascinating about his work?
Well, what I find fascinating about Dr. Dispenza's work is that he really breaks down this complex neuroscience into actionable steps.
Yeah.
Things we can all use.
Okay.
And he starts with this idea that our thoughts really do have the power to shape our reality.
Okay, I'm hooked already, but how does that actually work?
So think of it this way. Every time you have a thought,
Mm-hmm.
a certain set of neurons, those little messengers in your brain, fire together.
Okay.
And you know what they say? Neurons that fire together, wire together.
Oh, I see. So the more I dwell on something, whether it's, I can't believe I messed up again, or I am strong and capable, I'm actually like reinforcing those neural pathways.
Exactly. It's like building a mental muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And just like any habit, whether it's biting your nails or playing the piano, those thought patterns, they become more and more automatic over time.
So without even realizing it, we could be strengthening those negative thought loops,
Yeah.
making them feel inescapable almost.
Yeah. And that's exactly why awareness is key.
Okay.
Because as Dr. Dispenza points out, just because we think something doesn't make it true,
Mm-hmm.
the first step to changing these ingrained patterns is to shine a light on them.
Okay.
To become aware of what's playing on that mental loop.
Like, oh, there you are again, self-doubt. I see you hiding in the corner of my mind.
Precisely. But recognizing those patterns, that's just the first step.
Because then comes the hard part, right?
Yeah.
Actually changing them.
You're getting it. Our brains and even our bodies, they get comfortable with those familiar patterns,
Right.
even if they're not serving us.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Dispenza compares it to training a pet.
Oh, gosh.
You remember, like, how much patience and consistency it takes to help them unlearn old habits and adopt new ones.
Ugh. Yes. My dog still tries to sneak onto the couch when he thinks I'm not looking.
Well, think of those ingrained thought patterns as your brain's version of sneaking onto the couch.
Okay.
It takes consistent effort and the willingness to push through, some initial discomfort to truly create lasting change.
How do we actually start to rewire those neural pathways?
Mm.
What's the secret sauce?
It might sound a bit out there, but Dr. Spencer talks about the power of mental rehearsal.
Okay.
It's based on this idea that our brains don't always distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones.
Wait, so you're saying if I vividly imagine myself rocking that presentation at work,
Yeah,
my brain is reacting as if it's actually happening?
to a certain extent, yeah.
Wow.
When you engage in mental rehearsal, especially with strong emotion and vivid imagery, you're essentially firing and wiring those neurons in new ways, creating new neural pathways that support the reality you want to create.
So instead of replaying past failures in my mind, I should be visualizing myself acing that interview, feeling the confidence like in my body, hearing that positive feedback, like a mental highlight reel of my future successes.
Now you're getting it.
Okay.
It might feel a bit strange at first,
Uh-huh.
but the more you practice, the more natural it becomes.
Okay.
And this is where Dr. Dispenza takes it a step further. He talks about the incredible power of our emotions,
Okay.
particularly elevated emotions like gratitude, joy, and love.
So it's not just about visualizing success. It's
Yeah.
about feeling it in our bones.
Absolutely. Dr. Dispenza's research suggests that these elevated emotions don't just make us feel good, they have a tangible impact on our biology. He refers to them as our inner pharmacy.
Our inner pharmacy. Okay, I need to hear more about this. What does that even mean?
Well, he's found that these positive emotions can actually influence gene expression,
Wow.
essentially acting as a catalyst for healing and well-being.
Okay.
And he has the stories to back it up.
You're kidding. What kind of stories?
He talks about a woman with stage 4 cancer who, after years of dedicated practice cultivating these elevated emotions and visualizing her healing, went into complete remission.
Wow. That's incredible.
It really is.
It's hard to wrap my head around, but it makes you wonder what's truly possible
Yeah.
if we could tap into this power. Wow.
That's the beauty of this work. It challenges our conventional understanding of what we believe is possible.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we're talking about rewiring our brains by
Yeah.
like changing our thoughts, visualizing our success, and really feeling those positive emotions.
Yeah.
It's almost like we're like learning to consciously direct our own evolution.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And this is where Dr. Dispenza brings in the power of meditation.
Ah, meditation. Okay, I'll admit, I've dabbled, meditation apps, but I haven't quite made it a consistent practice. Why is it so crucial in this process of rewiring our brains?
Yeah, it's not just about relaxation or finding a few moments of peace.
Okay,
Those are great benefits.
right.
Dr. Dispenza talks about meditation as a way to access the operating system of our subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
that deeper level where our beliefs and habits are really wired in.
So it's like meditation gives us access to like the control panel of our minds
Yeah,
where we can start to make those lasting changes.
exactly. It's about becoming so familiar with our own minds,
Okay.
both the old patterns and the new ones we're creating,
Right.
that we can make conscious choices about what we allow to take root.
That makes a lot of sense. But how do we actually do that? What kind of meditation techniques are we talking about?
Well, Dr. Dispenza talks about this fascinating concept called heart coherence.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how, like, when you're stressed or anxious,
Mhm.
your thoughts kind of race?
Oh, yeah.
And it feels like your mind is a million miles an hour.
Tell me about it. I swear, my brain sometimes feels like a browser with like 20 tabs open, all trying to load at once.
That's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Dr. Dispenza calls that state mental incoherence.
Okay.
Our thoughts and emotions are all over the place,
All right.
and it affects our physical state, too.
Really?
Our heart rhythms become erratic, which just feeds into that cycle of stress and anxiety.
So how do we break out of that cycle?
That's where heart coherence comes in.
Okay.
It's about shifting from that state of mental chaos to one where our heart rhythms become more ordered and aligned with those elevated emotions we were talking about earlier,
Okay.
like gratitude and love.
So instead of my heart racing because I'm like worried about a deadline,
Right.
it's beating in sync with a feeling of deep appreciation for my work.
Exactly. It's about shifting from a state of fear and reaction to one of intention and connection. And here's the really interesting part. Dr. Dispenza's research suggests that when we achieve this state of heart coherence,
Yeah.
it doesn't just affect us internally.
Really?
It can actually impact our external reality as well.
Hold on. Are we saying our thoughts and emotions can like literally influence the world around us?
That's exactly what Dr. Dispenza's findings suggest.
Wow.
It might sound a bit like something out of a science fiction movie,
Right.
but there's a growing body of research that supports this idea of interconnectedness.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Uh-huh.
So how do we cultivate this heart coherence?
Right.
How do we make that shift from like mental chaos to a more aligned state of being?
Well, meditation is key, but Dr. Dispenza also talks about the power of breath work.
Look,
In fact, he considers it a cornerstone of his methods.
breath work. Okay.
Yeah.
That seems to be like popping up everywhere these days.
It is.
What makes it so powerful? Isn't it just about, breathing?
It's so much more than just breathing.
Okay.
It's about using our breath consciously
Mm-hmm.
to influence both our physical and mental states.
Okay.
You see, our breath is directly connected to our nervous system.
Right.
When we're stressed, our breath tends to be shallow and rapid.
Yeah.
But when we breathe deeply and slowly,
Yeah.
it sends a signal to our nervous system to calm down, to relax.
So taking a few deep breaths when I'm feeling overwhelmed,
Mm.
it isn't just a temporary fix.
Yeah,
It's actually helping to like regulate my nervous system.
you got it. And there are so many different breathwork techniques, each with its own unique effects. Dr. Dispenza talks about a powerful technique called pulling the mind out of the body.
Pulling the mind out of the body. That sounds intense.
It might sound a bit strange, but it's actually incredibly effective.
Okay.
It involves a specific pattern of forceful inhalations and exhalations that's designed to clear out mental clutter, increase energy, and enhance brain coherence.
Wow. It's like we have this incredible toolkit within us.
Yeah.
This ability to like consciously direct our thoughts, emotions, and even our biology.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to use it.
That's the exciting part. We're only just beginning to scratch the surface of what's truly possible.
So we've talked about rewiring our brains by changing our thoughts, visualizing our desires, cultivating heart coherence, and using breath work to regulate our nervous system.
Right.
It's a lot to take in.
It is a lot, isn't it? But what's so remarkable is that it all ties together so beautifully.
And speaking of tying it all together, Dr. Dispenza, he talks about stress a lot.
It does, yeah.
It seems like such a universal experience,
Right.
but he really breaks it down in a way I hadn't considered before.
Right. He emphasizes that stress isn't just an emotion we feel. It's a physiological state. When we perceive a threat, whether it's a real danger or just a looming deadline,
Right.
our bodies go into that primal fight or flight response.
Our heart races, our palms get sweaty, we can't seem to think straight. It's like our body is preparing to fight a saber-toothed tiger when it's really just like a stack of paperwork.
Exactly. And here's the thing. In that stressed out state, our brain narrows its focus, latching on to past experiences and trying to predict and control everything
Right.
to avoid any potential threats.
So instead of being open to new possibilities,
Yeah.
our brain is stuck in a loop, replaying all the times things went wrong, trying to protect us from getting hurt again.
Yeah.
It's like being trapped in a mental prison of our own making.
A very accurate description. And that's why Dr. Dispenza emphasizes the importance of practices that help us broaden our perspective. To shift from that narrow, fear-based focus to a wider lens of possibility and openness.
It's like hitting the reset button on our entire system.
Exactly. And sometimes all it takes is a change of scenery, a moment to connect with nature, or engage in something that brings us joy to remind us of that broader perspective.
You know, it's funny. We talk about stress like it's a given,
Yeah.
an inevitable part of life.
Right.
But what if we could actually rewire our brains to respond differently, to like approach those challenging moments with more openness and less fear?
That's exactly what Dr. Dispenza is proposing.
Yep.
He's not suggesting we can completely eliminate stress from our lives,
Right.
but that we can learn to navigate it in a healthier, more empowering way.
So it's not about becoming some kind of like Zen master who never feels a flicker of stress.
Right.
It's about changing our relationship to it.
Precisely. It's about recognizing that we have a choice in how we respond.
Okay.
And that choice starts with becoming aware of those automatic stress responses, those ingrained thought patterns that keep us trapped in a cycle of fear and reactivity.
And that's where those tools we were talking about come in.
Exactly.
The mental rehearsal, the heart coherence, the breath work. It's like we're building new mental muscles that allow us to choose a different path.
Exactly. It's about training our minds and bodies to respond differently, to access that state of openness and possibility even amidst life's inevitable challenges. And you know what's truly inspiring about Dr. Dispenza's work?
What's that?
Are the stories he shares about people who've used these techniques to create profound change in their lives.
Oh, you mean like that woman with stage 4 cancer
Yes.
who went into remission? Are there other stories like that?
So many.
Wow.
He talks about people regaining mobility after spinal cord injuries, individuals with chronic pain finding relief, and countless others experiencing significant improvements in their physical and mental health.
It's almost hard to believe, isn't it?
It is.
Like it's too good to be true, almost.
I understand the skepticism, but it all comes back to the incredible power of our minds
Yeah.
and their ability to influence our physical reality. You know, we're only just beginning to understand the true potential that lies within each of us.
It's like we've been given this incredible gift,
Yeah.
this capacity for healing and transformation, but we haven't been taught how to access it.
And that's precisely what Dr. Dispenza's work offers.
Okay.
A roadmap, a set of tools, and a whole new way of understanding what's possible.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into rewiring our brains for success with Dr. Dispenza, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this conversation?
That's easy. Change is possible. No matter what challenges you're facing, no matter how deeply ingrained those negative patterns might feel, you have the power to rewire your brain,
Okay.
to create new possibilities for yourself, and to step into a life of greater health, happiness, and fulfillment.
I love that. And it starts with taking that first step,
Yes.
with believing that change is possible.
Absolutely. It's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There will be challenges along the way, moments of doubt, and times when you might want to give up. But the key is to keep coming back to those tools,
Okay.
to keep practicing, and to never underestimate the incredible power you hold within.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. If you truly embrace the idea that you could rewire your brain for success, for healing, for a life beyond your wildest dreams, What would you do differently? What possibilities would you dare to embrace? Keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep believing in the incredible power that resides within you. Because when you change your mind, you change your life.